this is Pixie. How you doing? I'll do this one. Right. There was always something about security about wearing them things. You would get strangled, but they do pop up at the back. Just thoughts today really about food. Also microwaves. Are microwaves really bad for you? I think they are if you don't know how to use them. I think it's like all technology really. So the first thing to think about is when something's cooked, energy transfer. So if you cooked something in an oven, it's red hot, or it was red hot in the middle when you ate it, or you tried to go to eat it, you could burn your tongue. So the energy would transfer externally, it would just because of the temperature. The difference with the microwave is because it's got microwave radiation, it can store some of that inside it before it comes back out of it. I don't think there's a massive difference, but it's just a different light spectrum basically. The big difference though is penetration, because it's a different frequency that it could basically, if you're going to burn your tongue with some microwave food, it may actually burn into your actual tongue inside it. Just slight sort of slight damage, cellular damage, but that could manifest itself in some other form in the future. Depends how able your body is to repair itself. The other thing about is nutrient loss through using the microwave, and the best way to use the microwave possibly would be to use lower settings. Most people put it on a high setting. The issue with that, like anything you put on high setting, is that it's just going to blast it and turn it to blooming carbon or something. It will burn it eventually, yeah, for sure. So cooking it in a lower setting, because the microwave is very quick at cooking anyway, so lower setting, cook it, extend the time slightly, it'll be knocking out the same power amount I think into it, but it basically, the duration, it adjusts it. That's why it goes and then it goes rather than it kind of sounds a bit like a goat as well. But I was just thinking about it, because you get this technology, you don't want to be like, I can't use it, it's radioactive, it'll kill you, but people live in very toxic environments as well anyway. I mean, definitely for certain technology you want to get some distance from you, things like Wi-Fi and stuff. I really need to move my hub into the corner. I don't need it next to my chair. I mean, I can switch it off and on pretty easy, but it doesn't necessarily have to be there. And one of my knees is a bit dodgy, and when I sit in the chair it's always next to it, so it's not too far from it anyway, so it may be a concern. I did put a lot of orgon next to it, and that you could shield it. There could be a way to tunnel it, or I mean the old devices used to use the Ethernet, and then they've pulled away from that. They want to say we can make it faster, but you can't really. They can make it denser, the frequency of data getting sent, and so it needs to be processed differently. But do you need that? Is your life requiring that much speed? It's not like you move faster, so all the technology you've got, the devices move faster, so it's sometimes a bit of a waste on that side of things. Anything else? Yeah, I've been having some strange dreams. I think it's also because of the plants I've got in there. From a more scientific perspective, rather than just a spiritual one, they do have what could be considered neurotoxins, or things that at least influence the brain. And so I've been having these kind of, as I'm resting in bed, sometimes I get these visual flashes, and they're not from where I dream. They're like a different part of my brain. It's very bizarre. It's like I must have more than one way of viewing things internally in your brain. So when people have vivid dreams, they're not from the same part of their brain. That's the imagination. It's slightly different. It's like an audio hallucinations and a sort of visual hallucinations. They're in a slightly different region that's separate. So it's very strange. Yeah, you might be like thinking of something, and suddenly you get a flash, highly visual flash of it, of intensity, and that feels like something's taken that data and enhanced it. And and then it's presented it to you. So it's maybe from some form of enhanced modelling. Could be where people have flashbacks are slightly different in the storage of the brain. They used to think it's because the brain couldn't deal with it, it'd whack it in another place. It's actually another place that already exists, so you've got more than one way of visualising data. It could be so you can have multiple process, multiple tasking. I mean, it's no different than, you know, some things have got multiple processors, so it's not like it's anything particularly outlandish, I guess. Or, you know, something might want to take measurements, and that has to be ultra accurate. So it'd be interesting if we can just kind of like stimulating that, it's coming to the surface. But there's other things that are coming in that aren't. So they are more into the spiritual side of things because of the way they're being perceived. You know, it's what I'm thinking about, it's what I'm seeing that doesn't actually have any stimuli. It's not like I'm thinking of some sort of exotic location on another planet or some caves or particular beings. I guess once I start looking at it, start visualising beings, I want to look a bit more detail into them. But it's not really. It's very strange. I saw two people when they got like lions and giant cats on their tops, on the back, like they're in a gang or something. Or is it a sign in the Matrix? But the other thing as well is that there is a certain amount of... There we go. It wasn't playing ball, the car was being naughty. Is that there's pheromones and things are growing, but they haven't got to the stage where they're flowering, like the ultra pheromones. When they do that, it's going to be like off the scale, so it'd be really interesting, that experience. I've got a wild coffee plant, and I thought it had a seed growing in the side of it, and it's grown another coffee plant. But actually, that coffee plant that's grown to the side of it is come from the main stem. It's just come out the root system. So I thought that's strange, and I think that's probably how they do, because they kind of spreaders, so they grow from the roots as well as seeding upwards. So I was trying to separate the root system, and I heard it go crick, and I thought all the roots. But as I felt down, I thought, oh my god, it's connected to the main stem. I don't want to mess around with that. I'm going to kill off my coffee plant. It's happy at the moment. However, after injuring the roots, I'm not watering it. I'm just leaving it in a kind of. It's in a low light. It's at the back of the room. It's not at the front of the room. I thought I'd give it a bit of time out from being next to the window. Yeah, it seems quite happy. So I need to let it basically heal, but because it come in contact yesterday, it might have had an influence. And it's a wild coffee, so it's got this. It's got another name to it as well. So I guess it does fall into the family because it reacts the same way as the other plants. It's not that it just smells the same, and they said it was a coffee plant because it's has some psychoactive qualities to the beans. So I'm kind of looking forward to growing them as a kind of experiment. I mean, I'm not into anything serious or anything particularly dodgy. It's just more of a shaman, really. So more of that kind of dark magician, shaman type of individual. You know, the ones you always find around, hidden in society. Yeah, it's just naturally there's a kind of progressive spirituality inside me. It's a bit like religion. I was put off of it, the dogma, but I'm quite happy to look at it, and I might pick through a Bible, just to get a cheap Bible, and just highlight things that I consider important in it and useful. Certain alchemy and some other stuff that might be. This car park is so busy, it's unbelievable. I think there's having work done, that's what it is. There we go. Right, that's Pixie's video over. Have a great one, and speak to you soon. Bye.